the mentality of being incel, as it were. And another thing is that now this isn't something new, obviously. Uh, you know, I forget the exact term, but somebody lusting for somebody that they can't have, or these tales of trying to persuade somebody to fall in love with you, or seeking romantic interest that don't work out, yada yada. That is, that's a classic tale of human interaction. It's nothing new. But what makes this unique is how people who fall into this mentality take it and wear it and try to flip it into a badge of honor. That there is something not wrong with themselves because of this situation, but it's that everybody else is impure, that everybody else has, become too frivolous in the way that they give their bodies or show off their bodies, or the way that they engage with one another. So I would say that for a lot of people who fall into this mentality, what I learned, one of the first things I observed is it is a self-loathing mentality. It is a mentality that doesn't make the person truly reflect on the ways in which maybe they are not living up to, maybe certain expectations that they hold to others. There's an imbalance in what they expect from others and what they are themselves willing to offer. Um, I would say I could, and the thing is, I could definitely say that when I was younger, there was definitely a one-sided, definitely one-sidedness, and I would just say that that comes from, a lack of experience and needing to get more feedback from others. It's just that not everybody is receptive to that feedback. Some people lash out in a very negative way. So I would say that was probably the first thing, and that people who fall down this pathway of becoming an incel is not something that they it's not something that you usually just dive into straightforward, like, oh, you got shunned, somebody blew you off, or somebody didn't give you their number or whatnot, and then you immediately just like, oh, I hate all women, or all men are dogs or whatnot. It usually comes from in stages. So towards the around the 2010s, there was a much smaller subculture occurring on the internet called that was referred to as MGTOW, MGTOW, men going their own way. And it was kind of a precursor to the incels in that it was encouraging men to take a step back and really look at dating and romance in a different light. A lot of the dating apps were starting to become more popular. Online dating was becoming much more mainstream. And so this was just one of the many ways, philosophies, I guess you could say, in which people, men primarily, were, trying to make themselves fit into the situation. And it was just about, it really what it came down to was little stuff like, oh, should you always pay, questioning just different, established norms, like, oh, should men always be paying on the first date, or is it better to go, Dutch, stuff like that. Questions about chivalry, how much do you want to, adhere to it versus not adhere to it. And kind of smaller things like that, which, which themselves could be like healthy questions of just saying like, hey, how much do I really want to offer? How much do I really want to push myself in trying to find more romantic or sexual prospects? And I think that everybody should be able to ask those type of questions, as they're developing an understanding of what they want and what they have to offer.